Bueno, mi gente. My thing with cigars was always about flavor and aroma, until it turned into something about my family. You see, my wife's family has a kind of secret, a connection to the heart of the Dominican cigar world. It's a story wrapped in tobacco leaves, passed down in whispers, and during shared moments on the porch. So with a 50-year-old camera and a bag of black and white film, I went to find it. I wanted to capture the hidden art and tradition behind the cigars she grew up with. This isn't just me touring a factory, it's a quest to photograph a legacy, to see a part of my wife's soul through the grain of a photograph, and to understand the hands that craft these family treasures.
Aquí los peca.
So, for me, this whole thing starts where two of my passions meet. The first is photography, but a very special kind. I traveled down to the Dominican Republic with a new-to-me camera, a Nikon F, a heavy all-metal manual beast from the 1960s. It's a tank. It forces you to slow down and really think. There's no screen, no autofocus, no instant feedback, and I also didn't have a working light meter on the camera. It's just you, the light, the lens, and the film. For this trip, the film had to be Kodak Tri-X. It's the classic choice for photojournalists. The stuff history was shot on. It's known for its grit, its deep blacks, and a timeless feel. There was a catch. Cigar factories are famously dark and full of deep shadows and these small pockets of intense focus light. To see in that darkness, I had to push the film. I shot it at ISO 1600, which is 2 times more sensitive than it is supposed to be. In the film world, that's a creative gamble. It makes the grain and contrast go way up, creating an image that feels raw, textured, and completely analog. I was choosing to sacrifice sterile perfection for something with more of a soul. A look that I hoped could truly honor the rugged, hands-on nature of this craft. The second passion is, of course, the cigar. That's a more recent discovery for me. What started out as a simple pleasure quickly grew into a real appreciation for the history and complexity behind each one. So when I found out that the cigars my wife's family had been enjoying for years all came from this one specific family-run factory in the Dominican Republic, that's when it all clicked. This wasn't just a chance to take some pictures. It was a chance to use my craft, to connect with hers, and to document the origin of a tradition that I had married into.
¿Cuánto tiempo aquí en este cuatro?
Ya.
Ajá.
Por ejemplo, ahora mismo el cigarro que está aquí tiene por lo menos 2 o 3 meses.
Okay.
Porque no dura mucho. El cliente se lo lleva rápido.
Ah, sí, okay.
Sí.
The moment you land into Santiago de los Caballeros, it just hits you. You can feel the history in the humid air, which is thick with sweet, earthy smell of tobacco. Generation of families have built their entire lives around this one leaf, and you can feel it in that legacy all over the city. Now, before the trip, I had this grand idea of starting big. I messaged La Aurora, the oldest cigar factory in the Dominican Republic, hoping for a tour. Then, I heard nothing back. Just silence. At the time, I thought it was a setback. It turns out it was for the best, because as the trip went on, my wife reminded me of her cousin's business. A business handed down to her that supplies the very cigars our family loves. Suddenly, the whole trip changed. It wasn't going to be about the giants of the industry. Toward the end of our stay, it became a journey into the heart of the real Santiago cigar scene. The small, independent, mom-and-pop factories in the neighborhood of Tamborilla. The new plan was to visit 2 of these operations. The first was to get a feel for the world, and the second, the one that held the real family secret, Don Ciso Cigars. The first factory was tucked away on a side street, a world away from the giants I had imagined. The scale here was intimate. Instead of hundreds of workers, there was maybe a dozen, though all but one had quit for the day and had moved over to the domino table. Of course, they all had their rum and their cigars. Still, the air hummed with a steady, familiar energy, the rustle of dried leaves, the rhythmic creak of the wooden molds, and the soft tap-tap-tap of the chaveta. Chaveta is the curved blade that every roller uses. My camera felt both intrusive and essential. In the dim light, my decision to push the film to 1600 immediately paid off. It let me shoot without a flash, capturing the real atmosphere of the room. I kept finding myself drawn to the tiny details, the deep wrinkles on the sorter's hands as he separated the leaves by color, the focused look in the buncher's eyes as he gathered the filler tobaccos, the volado, seco, and ligero that gives each cigar its character. This wasn't a performance for tourists, it was a place of proud, focused work. I had to trust my gut, leaning into the high contrast look of the film, hunting for those moments of dramatic light. I was using the darkness to frame my subjects, letting the film's grain bring out the texture of the tobacco and the weathered wood of each rolling table. Each click of the shutter felt heavy, like I was trying to distill a lifetime of tradition into a single frame. After the quiet focus of the first factory, arriving at the home of Don Ciso Cigars was a whole different world. The contrast was immediate. While the first place was a business, this felt like home. My wife's cousin, who now runs the company her father built, greeted me not as a journalist, but as family. She introduced me to the owner of the factory that produces their cigars. A woman whose grandfather started the business and whose passion was obvious from the second she started talking about tobacco. Here, the story got personal. This wasn't a tour, it was a conversation that stretched out over hours. Though with my limited Spanish, some of that time was spent translating things to me. She showed me the specific tobaccos that go into the blend that my wife's family loves. They explained that their deal wasn't just business, it was a friendship built over years of mutual respect.
individual.
But the story went even deeper. As we talked, I discovered that more of the family, other cousins, owned the very farms that grow the tobacco leaf. The connection ran from the soil itself all the way to the finished product. The secret wasn't just a factory, but a legacy woven through the entire supply chain. My camera even felt different in my hands here. It was a bridge. I spent time with a roller named Manuel, who had been working at the same factory for over 40 years. He knew my wife's grandfather by name. He told me stories about the old days and the pride he still takes in every single cigar he rolls. As he worked, his hands moved with an unconscious grace. They were a roadmap of his life. I lifted my Nikon, focused on his hands, as the light from the fluorescent lights above caught the texture of the wrapper leaf. He was gently stretching. And I knew the high contrast Tri-X film would capture this scene with the gravity it deserved. I wasn't just taking a portrait of a cigar roller. I was capturing a piece of my wife's heritage, a living link to her family's past.
Check that punch up right there, tied up. Hold it in your hand.
No te estoy diciendo que cuando uno cierra,
Buenas tardes.
ay, 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 de verdad lo que dijo Sara, que te voy a caer bien.
These were some of my favorite images from those 2 days. Sitting here now, I'm holding one of the very cigars from my wife's family factory. As the smoke curls into the air, the aroma is no longer just an aroma. It's a story. It's the smell of the rich Dominican soil, the scent of the cedar-lined aging room, and the faint lingering memory of Manuel's hands. What this whole trip taught me is that a premium cigar is so much more than a product. It's a vessel for history, a tangible piece of culture and a testament to the enduring power of human hands. And the black and white photos are my proof. They freeze a timeless craft in a timeless medium. They showed me that the soul of this world, and in doing that, they connected me more deeply to my family's own story. Thank you for coming along with me on this journey. So I'm curious, what part of this do you find the most interesting? The pure artistry of the rollers or the patient science of the aging tobacco? Let me know in the comments below.